show of mystery. It's the Forbidden Show of Mystery.
And we are back for another edition of the Forbidden Show of Mystery. Let us begin with my favourite, the studio update.
And now it's time for a studio update.
So, first things first, in the last couple of weeks, I have put out a free EP, real free. You can download it for free. It's called Introducing Ben Craven. If you have not heard my music and you have a passing interest in it, you can download this EP for free, did I say? There's 3 tracks on it. It's a really good introduction to Ben Craven. It's quite representative of the kind of music I make. And you cannot hear these particular tracks, well, at least 2 of them, on YouStreamify. They're not up on the streaming services, just on this EP. You can listen to it at Bandcamp. You can download the EP. Here's the link. Now we've got that out of the road. Monsters from the Id, almost done. So the other day I found myself with a little bit of time on my hands. I went down and listened to the surround version on the full speakers, and I found a few things that, I wrote a list of a few final changes I wanted to get through. So typically the way I mix a song is I get each individual track sounding as high quality, as pristine as possible in isolation, to get a kind of sonic reference point of, if it's the only track, this is how it should sound. And then after that, it's the context of the mix, and then, applying EQ and panning, whatever it is, to make sure you can still hear each track in the mix. Well, Monsters from the Id has more tracks going on than I've ever had before, and I know you will be shocked to hear this. Once again, I've pushed the limit of my arranging skills, and also pushed the limits of the recording horsepower I have here in front of me. And very interesting, what I noticed was once all these tracks got added together, there was too much. There was too much of a good thing. There was too much everything. And I realized I needed to start dialing back a few things so you could hear what you were supposed to be focusing on, rather than hearing everything at once, like being omnipresent. So a few changes to the way I work, and then that involved a complete remaster as well, in stereo and surround. And that finally has come to an end. And this right here is the final DVD version, which has got the album in 5.1 surround, DTS 9624, and as a bonus now I've managed to fit the entire stereo version in lossless 9624. Exciting to me, maybe exciting to you, who knows, but exciting that this thing is now done. So now it is just filling in the gaps, artwork, business, distribution, all that stuff. You might have heard recently I had a bit of a dramatic episode on the Book of Faces, where I had to post a CD. A customer in Malta had purchased a CD, and I went to post it with all the new international postage rules for Australia, and this little envelope with a flat CD in it. They were going to charge me $25 to post a single CD overseas to Europe, to Malta. This is certainly more than the CD is worth, and it was at that point that I had a fairly dramatic episode, and I assumed that business was over. There was no way I was going to even bother making physical for Monsters or going on. Came to my senses, luckily, started investigating more overseas distribution options. So I got a few ducks lined up. There's a way out. It just means there's less return on investment to be made. But I think we all kind of knew that's the reality now going into any kind of artistic endeavour. But as usual, it does make it difficult to continue to do this. And for that reason, I am forever grateful for the patrons I have, any of the supporters out there, anyone who buys, who downloads, whatever, anyone who's supporting me. I am always incredibly grateful that anyone is in any way interested in hearing what I do. So before we go any further, a word from our sponsor, YouStreamify.
YouStreamify.
For a very limited time at the moment, YouStreamify is offering 3 months of the premium package for free. And by a very, very limited time, what this means is this offer is only available to you for the rest of your life if you stay on the free plan. They're going to nag you day after day, week after week until you sign up for 3 months for free. Get hooked and then maybe forget to unsubscribe at the end of the 3 months. And then you'll be in a contract you can't get out of. But it's free, I tells you. 3 months for free, no ads, all the music you can listen to. But I hear you, stockholders and investors. How's YouStreamify going to make money? We got you covered. Well, for starters, the artists get paid nothing. No worries there. And in fact, some of the less popular artists, we're going to start charging them to stay on the service. So it'll all come out in the wash in the end. YouStreamify. As long as somebody somewhere pays, it's fine. And now it's time for Ask Dr. Ben.
Got questions? Need answers? Go ahead. Ask Dr. Ben.
Today on Ask Dr. Ben, Ben Craven from Sweden, no relation whatsoever, writes, Dear Dr. Ben, I'm hearing a lot about this thing called binaural audio. What's your perspective and can you please explain it to us? Thank you, Sven. Excellent question. Now, look, I've certainly noticed on YouTube, especially at the moment, one of the bands I listen to is putting out a lot of 360 reality audio clips of their surround mixes onto YouTube. You put your headphones on and you get the virtual surround experience only in headphones because then it's encoded in a certain way, binaural encoding, and the sounds, as long as you're wearing headphones, are going to sound like they're coming from where the producer or the artist intends. You might have heard of Dolby Headphone. It's the same sort of thing. And I believe that Dolby Atmos, anyone streaming Dolby Atmos, there is the option for binaural mixdowns of surround music. I'm really excited at the prospect of people who do not have a full surround speaker setup to be able to hear some of these surround mixes I've done just by popping on a pair of headphones and hearing the speakers or the sources virtually in the soundstage where they should be. I've got a few reservations about it though, and I want to give you an example here. So I got to put my cans on, and before I go any further, you have to put your headphones on too, right? Everyone's got to have headphones on, otherwise this isn't going to work. So put on your headphones now. Put them on. What we have here is a Reaper session, and this is a free plugin that does a fairly basic binaural encoding process. Okay, so I've got the this SM58 routed through the system here. It's going into Reaper, and the only thing that's processing it is this plugin. It's easier, I just show you. So simply turning this dial, we get to move this sound source around you. And it's so we're moving to the back apparently now. Now I should be directly behind you and moving back again to the side. It's a very pleasing, natural, ambient kind of sound. And continue to go back to the front and directly in front of you. In fact, over here we could go slightly to the right, and we can also change the elevation. So at this point I'm supposed to be getting higher and higher. to the point where I think it's more of a sphere. So this is directly above the head, going back down, and now we are directly underneath. So again, these are based on multiple measurements made of dummy heads or real heads, the way the ear works, blah, 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 blah. Look it up if you want to know more information. So even if you have a existing surround piece of music, you may have an old quadraphonic recording. So it's got 2 front speakers, 2 rear speakers, for instance. You can take those signals and put one of the speakers to the front left here, another speaker to the front right, and the rear right and the rear left. You get the idea. So that's like a very, very easy fool's way of converting an existing surround recording into a binaural recording. And you'll see some of these coming out for some of my singles from Monsters from the Id coming out very soon. Now, this is a very simplified way of doing things. This particular plugin doesn't let you specify exactly where a sound should be coming from. It's just some point on the periphery. There are lots of other panning processes involved in getting a nice kind of surround mix, but superficially, this is a very good demonstration. Now, I have a few problems with this approach, which don't invalidate it. They don't make it any less interesting, but perhaps a bit less accurate. And the first thing I've noticed is, look, let's say we've set this to be at the rear, at the left. You know it's there because I told you it was there, and we have a graphical representation that that's where it is. However, if you're just listening to this on headphones and you have no other reference, no one's actually told you, you can't see it, it hasn't moved from any position, so you haven't got any head movements that are able to kind of tell you exactly where the sound is. I don't know. Is it clear that this sound is behind you, and whereas this sound is in front of you? When you're listening to music in this situation, without any movement, without the imperfect response of the room, without any visual cues, and again, without the ability just to tweak your head like you could in real life. If you hear a bird or something behind you, you can pinpoint it a bit better just by moving your ears. But if it's just dead there the whole time, that's where I feel the binaural experience suffers a bit. Again, it's still a very, very pleasing, natural sound, and it has a lot of advantages. It's definitely worth trying out. The other disadvantage, I guess, is that everyone's head is different. Everyone's shape of the head, shape of the ears, relative positioning, it's not altogether universal. So the algorithms they use are based on a cross-section or something they feel is a good average of the human head, but it may not work perfectly for everyone. So there's a compromise you're making there. I'm going behind you to the right. Well, this probably is going to sound a lot better to some people than it does others. Having said that, here is in fact a real-life example. I wasn't going to show you, but I've got it here, so I might as well. So we have here a track which is a podcast theme that I worked on. It's got a lot going on. It's got a string staccato section which sounds like this. What I can do is apply that plugin to it as well. Kind of the left and right speakers are there in front of you, the way they would be placed in an ordinary listening environment. We can rotate this anywhere we want it to be. So what I'm going to do is move it so it's in the rear. And I guess you tell me if you feel like there's a difference. So at the moment it's at the front. Let's move it to the rear. So at this point, that staccato should be coming from directly behind you in a pleasing stereo sense. So again, front, back. And what it means is we can get a bit more clarity, a bit more definition than normal. So I've got a staccato section, I've got a horn section here. Horn section, I will move to the front. So we've got horns at the front, staccato at the back. This is what it sounds like. These are at the front. These are at the rear. And just to compare that with the track with none of that 3D spatial information, just normal stereo. Back to the surround version. So there you have it. Very, very simple overview of the binaural sound. I'm going to throw the single edits out in binaural mixes for the new album. So I'll be very interested if people can tell the difference or think it's worthwhile. Hello. It's okay, it's just Bob.
Bob, the underappreciated audio engineer.
Bob, mate. Mate, the ad agency absolutely loves the metal track you sent through to them for the rideshare application. They love it. They think it's the perfect fit for their ad. Yeah, mate. Just a couple of teensy things they want you to change. The drums, the big metal drums. Can you replace those, please, with foot stomps and hand claps? The metal guitars a tiny bit too. I don't know, it's not the image they want to portray. Can you change those to ukulele? And the vocals, we need whistling, please. And mate, while you're at it with the remix, can you just kind of make the song a bit more upbeat and a bit happier, a bit less metal? Yeah, awesome. You've got this, Bob. That was
Bob, the underappreciated audio engineer.
So here we are at the end of another Forbidden Show of Mystery. Timing-wise, Happy New Year. Let's hope it's better. Talk to you soon.